Yes. What's going on, everybody? I want to welcome y'all to another episode of the Lion's Den with Seth. This is the spot where you come to for leadership, growth, development with a call to action from in the household to out in the community. If this is your first time listening and seeing my beautiful face, welcome. Make sure you hit the share button. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe, right? Follow, comment, all of that. But most importantly, if you're on Facebook right now, live with us, make sure you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook so that you can be involved in this conversation. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said earlier, right, we're here to talk about all things, right, that's within the household to out in the community. And if you know what we do and what I'm all about is, giving you guys information, access to resources and opportunities. And that's especially what we're going to do today, and it's a pleasure to do this. So this is what I do on my off time, if there's ever a such thing. But during my daytime work, being the executive director of Vet Biz, where we connect with the veterans and family members of the of our region, right? Southern Illinois, all of Missouri, and all of Kansas. Now, our headquarters is in St. Louis, and that means there's a lot of individuals I get a chance to meet, great people, right? But the most important part about the people are their passion behind it and how they're actually in the spaces, in the places to help those individuals. That's what we're going to talk about today. And but before we talk about it, I got to introduce to you our guest. So today we have a very, very special guest, right, with us, Miss Jess Bellomo. Bellomo, right? She's the director of entrepreneurial recruitment at the Arch Grants. And ladies and gentlemen, y'all give it up for her and her beautiful, beautiful hair. Y'all give it up for Miss Jess. Yeah.
Nice to be here.
What's going on, Miss Jess? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here.
Too easy. This is what we do. And you know what? I also want to thank you for always being the person that you are. What I mean by that is, sometimes interactions are just one off, right? And it's just politic type of work, but you've never changed. So I appreciate that. And I see the passion and the fire in your eyes when you're talking about entrepreneurship. So we're going to get right up into it because I think people may not understand not only what Arch Grants is, but I want them to know who you are. So if you don't mind, telling us a little bit about your journey and how you've become the director of entrepreneurship and recruitment in Arch Grants.
Yeah. First of all, likewise, I feel the same way about you. So thank you for saying so, Seth. I had kind of a weird backing into the entrepreneurial world. I don't have a background in business or startups. My background is in nonprofit management and marketing and outreach and public relations and people herding. So this job does make a lot of sense for me, even though I didn't know that I was going to be in the entrepreneur world until a few years ago when I took this job. So I started off, my career was started off at the World Affairs Council, which is a nonprofit that's been going since like 75 years or so. And I spent 10 years there. I did a lot of work with international visitors who were guests of the State Department and came in for programming and to meet with experts in their field and get an understanding of the U.S. And I did a lot of programming for Americans who are interested in international affairs. So that's where I kind of, got my start career-wise. And then while I was doing that, I went back to school, got my master's in public relations, since I realized I was already kind of doing marketing outreach in my job and wanted to know how to actually officially do it. So once I ended my tenures there, I got recruited actually by this company called Lenders One that does, it's a mortgage cooperative. So I found myself suddenly in the mortgage industry, another industry I never guessed I would be a part of, but I ran events and did marketing, did conferences and such in the mortgage industry for about 5 years. During that time also, I was an adjunct. I'm still technically an adjunct, although I took this year off at Webster University teaching media literacy to undergrads. So that weird combination of backgrounds just really combined well. So when I found this job available about 2.5 or so years ago, I jumped on it.
Hold on. Okay, wait a damn minute. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if y'all heard this, if you're just tuning in, what's going on, but you just went through a laundry list of different opportunities that you've taken, but also the schooling. And if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'll be 40 in 2 months.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't get up off your ass and do something with yourself, right? This is an opportunity to hear it from someone, because you said some things that I really like. You went to school, but you're going to school, you went to school, you saw opportunities, but you did things that was in line with, the things that you were studying. So that's outstanding. How many times you hear, I know this is off the subject a little bit, but people go to school for things that they really don't like, right? But it's something based off of they can get a good job. Like, how do you feel about people doing that?
Yeah, it's so funny you ask. I was just having this conversation earlier with somebody that kind of did that and like was, went to school for the thing that he really felt like he needed to do instead of enjoying it. Yeah, it was totally the opposite experience for me. My undergrad degrees are in international studies and sociology. And then I also had a minor in poli-sci, a certificate in women's studies, and a certificate in Italian studies. And I managed it in 4 years. But yeah, people so often people would be like, what the hell are you going to do with that? And I'd be like, I don't know, but I'll figure it out.
Right,
And I
right.
did. I did. So yeah, I didn't worry about it too much. My parents always told me just do what you enjoy, just as long as you focus on it and do it well, it'll work out. And it did.
And I
So
love
here I
that.
am.
That's fascinating and great inspirational words from the family, right? And
Yeah,
let that be a just something that you guys put in the back of your mind. Look, encourage your children to do what they like to do. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes too
exactly.
often the parents say, "Well, look, this is what you should do." You know why? Because you didn't do it. Now you want your kids to do it. Hey, look, don't mess them up because you was too lazy. But anyway, we're gonna do this, right? But thank you for that, Jess. So now, could you
Yeah.
share with us the mission and the vision of Archer Grants and how it supports entrepreneurs in their journey?
Yeah, for sure. So we're a nonprofit. We've been in existence since 2011, and our main program and the program that I'm in charge of is the startup competition. So that competition, recruits. We're trying to get extraordinary founders to come to St. Louis or stay in St. Louis and grow their companies and grow their lives in St. Louis. So we are a little bit weird in that we don't take equity. It's equity-free, non-dilutive funding. It's 75K if you're already here and 100K if you're a transplant and get awarded and you have to move here. So our reason for existing is to improve St. Louis's economic, viability and make it more of a thriving place. And we believe that the way to do that is to support extraordinary entrepreneurs and make this city really, what it already is, vastly becoming more and more of a place to grow your startup. But we really want to make St. Louis like the place to be a startup founder and to grow your business.
Yeah.
So we do that with the competition that I can get into more details on.
Mhm.
And then once you're awarded, you get the funding in exchange for being in St. Louis for at least a year. But there's also a whole lot of other intangible, wraparound services. I've got a whole team of colleagues whose job it is once you're awarded to get you connections and find you funders if you're fundraising and create events where you can be in the room with other founders, all kinds of things like that. And then also, even if you aren't an awardee, we do have at least some things that we do for the community at large. Any founders that are interested in learning, we do some educational programs that you were just a part of, one of a few weeks ago, which I appreciate.
Mhm.
So we do have some kind of general offerings for the community as well. But most of our focus does go on the competition and the awardees and supporting them.
No, that's dope. That's dope. And yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, what she's was talking about very briefly was it was just a great opportunity to talk to individuals that were interested in Archer Grants, but also may have applied before, and really giving some real good tips, inspiration, right, motivation for those individuals that were interested in this year. And I had the opportunity to talk about not just the business piece, but more like the mindset as well.
Mhm.
How do you wrap your mind around actually wanting to be, having to be your own business, and what does it take, right? So I want to thank you for having that, giving me that opportunity to be around such beautifully smart individuals, right? I felt extremely like this, but boy, it was outstanding. That was beautiful. That
Yeah, that was a great discussion. And it is available on the Arch Grants YouTube channel, the recording.
Oh,
So
is it?
shameless plug. Yeah.
Oh, look, hey, well, y'all heard it. So now that I know I'm gonna hit the share button too, right? Since I'm up in there talking crazy. But no, that's good. I appreciate that. So it sounds like Arch Grants is doing amazing work and have been, right? And so as someone who's looking closely into entrepreneurs, what are some common traits you've noticed in successful founders?
Yeah, so it's funny because this kind of came up in one of the earlier founder fundamental sessions, one that you weren't in, but all of the founders use the word delusional, which is not a word that I would necessarily use. I feel like it's a combination of like confidence and being humble that is really impressive. But yeah, they were all like realizing like, no, you kind of have to be a little delusional. Like you have to believe in yourself so much, and kind of just realize that you are on the right path on your own, even in the face of all this adversity and all of these people telling you no, or giving you harsh criticism. So, even even though delusional might be considered a negative word, it made me laugh that all three of them like use that word on themselves.
Mhm.
So yeah, so for me, it's just this wild combination of being very, very confident and sure that you're on the right path, but also like being able to take that harsh feedback. And actually, you mentioned this in the last session, like being able to absorb that, like like absorb what the haters say and use it to your own benefit. And
Absolutely.
that just takes such a unique personality. I think like it's very admirable to me.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but founders make it look easy. So yeah, I think that's above all, like that's the common thread, since I get to work with founders that are in all different kinds of industries. They have such different personalities. Some are very extroverted or introverted, and so they have different backgrounds. But I feel like that's the common thread I see.
Yeah, I feel you. And, I talked about it then, but then also had a talk a few days ago, really trying to hammer that individuals need to use things as fuel. And
Mm,
sometimes,
mhm.
and actually I came up with it, the hater maker unleaded. You get what I mean? So when people come and start throwing things at you, and the deal is that it may sound like they're hating on you or they're trying to trivialize the things that you're doing. However, if you can flip that to ask yourself, wait a minute, is this an opportunity for me to improve? Because, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or
Mm.
not, those haters are the main individuals that can tell you how to improve your business. You see, because you're take a step back and like, you wait, you know what? I don't like what they said, but wait a minute, now I'm gonna prove them wrong. I'm gonna do that and then some. So, but you have to flip it, right? That's the whole
Mhm.
thought process of a paradigm shift. Thinking about things, seeing things a certain way, but then turning it. How can I use this as fuel, right? The hater maker,
Yeah.
the unleaded, let that be gas to propel you, to fuel you to move forward. So, no, you're absolutely
Mhm.
right with that.
Yeah, yeah, but I find that super impressive. I don't know if my ego could take it if it were me. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, it hurts, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But founders and entrepreneurs, you have to get to the place where your skin is thicker to deal with that type of adversity, because
yeah,
that's going
yeah,
to be that's like the precursor, if you will, to the ebbs and flows of you staying in business,
yeah,
because
yeah.
not everybody's going to like your product. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? But yeah, you got to keep pushing. But what else have you seen? Is that anything else that sticks out, or is that the main thing?
I mean, that's definitely the main thing. Definitely people that are just very smart and very passionate and very self-propelled. You really have to be in charge of getting your own stuff done. Like, there's nobody else that's going to tell you that there's a certain deadline or a certain threshold, or you have to do it yourself. And again, that's not for everybody. And just kind of being willing to give it all of your time. Whenever I hear the question of like work-life balance being asked of founders, it ends up being like that I don't have one. I recommend everybody has one, but I don't have one.
Isn't
So
that horrible? Wasn't that
yeah.
stupid? So we hear we hear that all the time,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
But now how do you, when you take that and you hear that, it's like, okay, now you're contradicting yourself. You're telling people what they need, but you're not
Mhm.
even using it for yourself, and it's plain to see.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. And I do also think it's a question that's more often posed to women. And yeah, inevitably women just say, "Yeah, I don't have that." So,
Mm.
so yeah, I don't know exactly how to solve for that, but I definitely hear it a lot. So, yeah.
Right, right. Hey, well, look, luckily they don't pay you enough for that, right? Who would want that job, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah.
so, but anyway, no, that's great. That's great. So here's something else. Could you help us, or could you share one of the most inspiring success stories, right, that came out of Arch Grants? Because even with my first time going to the Nexus, that was crazy.
Mm,
That was dope.
yeah.
That was very, very nice. But I
Mhm.
mean, with you being involved with that for so many, for so many years, what have you seen?
Yeah, I mean, so it's so hard to pick just one because the founder experience is so different, and like success looks so different depending on where they are and who they are and what their business is. So I mean, I can really think of a few. Like T-Care, which they won the grant in 2019, and then they actually also won growth grants, which is the follow-on funding that's accessible after you've gone through your first cohort year as an awardee. So Ali Amadi, the founder of T-Care, I mean, he is just an amazing person. His company is just, they do great things. It's like a supporting caregivers model, you know, understanding that like people who are taking care of elderly parents or somebody that's terminally ill, like need this like whole system of support that's lacking. So that's his company model. And I mean, he successfully just had like a $17 million raise, I want to say, don't quote me on that. And he's got this new building that he's building and all these new employees, and it's all happening in St. Louis. And he's also a veteran, actually.
See?
Yeah. So yeah, look up Ali Amadi. He's great. But also a new company like Bold Exchange, they also are an awardee and a growth grants awardee. They won in 2020, and they're a transplant husband and wife now, partners and co-founders. And I mean, they just had this really great success story of like pivoting and growing. They started off as like a marketplace for Black-owned businesses, and they've really expanded to have this whole corporate gift offering. They're really, you know, they're staying in St. Louis. They've been here 4 years now, and they're part of the St. Louis landscape now. And then the last one that I'll just say quickly, I don't know if they'd be okay with me saying their company name or not. So, but it just really touched me this year. One of this current cohort, when I called to make that, it's the most fun part of my job is to call and tell people that they've been awarded. And when I got to tell this company, you know, these two founders that they were awardees, she told me she was currently looking for a new job. Like she had given up on being able to work on her company full time and was like in the interview process with corporate jobs. And she was like almost crying and she almost made me cry because now she didn't have to do that. And she could go back to focusing on her company full time, which just really made my day. So yeah, so success looks all different, you know, but like, I'd say those are all like, that makes me so happy to see all of these companies growing in different ways and staying in St. Louis to do it, you know?
Yes. Listen, I don't think you understand how beautiful it is, right? To be a part of someone's dream. Do you understand how powerful that is, right? Because we know that there are jobs out there, don't get me wrong, and there are individuals that are made, right? No, not trying to make people feel away, but they don't have aspirations, right, to be an entrepreneur or to own their own stuff. However, when there is an individual that has that light, that spark, but they just don't know how to get through it, and you find them or they find you, and then you grab them and you help them move, and all of a sudden that's a great feeling.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Makes the whole year worthwhile.
Yeah, I think I know you're talking about. And you know what, it's a selfish feeling in a way, right? For real, because you're almost saying, damn it, you're free, you can get out if you want to, you know what I mean? This is how you do it. And when they finally grab the, whatever the gut is, or you know what they do? This is what it is, Jess, you ready? They bet on themselves.
Yeah.
They bet on themselves, right? They really believe in themselves, and they remove everything, and they believe in the faith, whatever their belief system is, they go in with that. And just being on the other side, watching it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I know you love seeing this from your point of view, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's so inspiring and motivating to see, I like, who knows what that may change as far as like that founder's trajectory for the rest of her career. And it's just really cool to have even played a small part in that, obviously she did the work, but like I got to be a part of it.
Oh yeah. No, that's super dope. So that's nice. That's real nice. So now let's talk about this though. Now, just to help individuals understand what Archer Grants is, and you've done that, but what are some of those challenges that entrepreneurs face when applying for grants, and how can they overcome them? So not just Archer Grants in general, but just just grants. What do you think they can do?
Yeah, I mean, really, I think the biggest challenge that I hear from not only entrepreneurs, but really anybody that, like I work a lot with artists too, and I see this like just across the board. It's not unique to founders. Like anybody that's looking for grant funding just says that they're overwhelmed. Like there's so much out there, but they don't know where to find it. They're, working full time on their business and or have another job because they can't afford to do it, to leave their day job yet. So they don't have time to like find all this stuff and like read, dozens of pages of like, to figure out the details if they're eligible or not. So I know that can be just really daunting to a lot of people that are trying to find grant funding in general. And the startup community isn't any different. So I know we're trying, and by we I mean Arch Grants and a lot of all the other entities that are doing similar work in the area. We're doing our best to try and like start to come together more. I know you at VetBiz, you're working on that too. So it's not like everybody's totally siloed and in a vacuum. We're trying to bring it all together and make it easier, but
Yeah.
I know it's hard and it can feel really daunting and discouraging at first if you don't know where to start. So I guess like the solution to that is to find somebody like me or like you, or just don't feel afraid to reach out and just ask. I definitely have lots of potential applicants who email me and they're like, hey, this is my company, I can't tell if I'm eligible or not, should I apply, help
Right.
me. And it's easy for me to say, yeah, from what you told me, I'd say you're probably eligible, or like you need to think about if you this or that. I'm happy to do that. And I know that I'm not the only one that's happy to help entrepreneurs with that kind of stuff. And I know it can seem, I don't know, like, oh, if I ask this question, I'm going to sound stupid or I'm not going to get an answer or whatever. But I really think we're all very excited to help. I want to see everybody who should apply and apply successfully, like, and put their best foot forward. So, I think it's totally valid to start by asking. If you're like, if you start by looking at our site and you see all these FAQs and you're still like, I'm confused, like, just don't be afraid to reach out, and don't be afraid to like get yourself into the network. Like it's kind of a small world, in St. Louis, it's a small community. Once you start throwing yourself into it, you realize like, oh, I can wiggle my way pretty much through any part of this network now. I know somebody who knows somebody.
Yes.
So just kind of throwing yourself into that entrepreneurial space and getting to know people, getting comfortable in there. You'll start to feel comfortable with like the jargon that's part of any industry, and start to know people. And I think that just makes it a lot easier once you throw yourself in it a little bit.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. All right. So look, let me take a little pause for the calls. Give a shout out to everybody that's watching, y'all. Hopefully y'all are picking up what Jess is putting down. First of all, let me give her some more of her flowers up in the building. Yeah. Right. Look, she's trying to help y'all get access to this capital. You understand what I mean? Get some of this money over there in the loop. And so, but look, shout out to James. I see you over there. What's going on, Tracy? Look, she was there when we did the one event, and she said, hey, but yeah, shout out to you. And now we have another person that was on. Sorry, your name didn't pop up. She says, or he or she says, this is inspiring. I'm a nutritionist and teaching the importance of incorporating fruits, veggies, nuts, and seeds into their life, along with self-care. That's what's up. Keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? We need it. All right. And yes, will you be sharing your contact information? Yes. Her info will be here most definitely, and appreciate the information. Look, this is what we do. This is what Jess do. But this is how connections and communities are supposed to work. Like she said, y'all, the most frustrating part is when entities operate in their own silos. You can't get nothing done that way. You really can't. But when you connect with individuals that truly want you, hold on, let me make sure I get this mic close. When you connect with people that want you to succeed too, that's what makes it better. You get what I mean? So there's different types of people out in the world, but like she said, individuals like her, individuals like myself, or just ask around, hey, this is what I need help in. And listen, y'all, the egos, my God, please remove that to get what you need. Okay, get what you need, because you don't know it all. As a matter of fact, everything that you do know got you right here. Okay. If you want to get over here, what you know over here ain't gonna get you over here. So what you gonna need? You don't know. So ask somebody that's already over there. That makes sense. Hold on, let me ding myself. Okay, just so you can understand what we're saying. All right, get help. Surround yourself with a group of individuals that want to help you succeed. Am I right, Jess?
Exactly right. Yes.
See? I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I don't want to hear the truth. You understand? It make them feel funny, but it's all good. It's all good. So look, so I appreciate all that, and y'all, I had to get off my soapbox there. But Jess, do you mind explaining to individuals how does Arch Grants differentiate itself from other entrepreneurial support organizations or grant programs?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that like we're so wildly different that this, would sound totally foreign if you've like gone through an accelerator or something like that. But we definitely do a couple things differently. First of all, like I mentioned, where it's, equity free funding. It's not like a VC firm or investor. So there, we expect nothing back monetarily from you. And the grant amount is, pretty exceptional. The 75K, 100K kind of puts us at the next level compared to some smaller funds that you can find if you're a little bit earlier stage. And then also the format of the programming, accelerators and incubators tend to do like a more intensive, like 3-month educational program, and you see each other every day, and that's super useful and important. So it's not like that's a bad way to do things, but we work a little differently in that it's a cohort year, so from October to the following October, and there's a lot that's available to you, but you're not required to do it. And if you don't want to, you do have to report in quarterly, and there's a couple other obligations, but it's mostly just a concierge service as opposed to required curriculum. And then the last thing I'll say that makes us a little different, or, I don't think that there's a lot out there that's like that, is, again, like I mentioned, that growth grants program. So once you're an awardee and you go through your year, you have access to another 100K if you want to apply to that funding. So I do think there's a few things there that set us apart.
Yeah, I think, as a matter of fact, and I mean, being completely honest, this is something I wish that I even knew about it early on, right? Because this is,
Sure.
even if I couldn't take the take the take the advantage of that, this is still some information that we would like to share. So this won't be the last time we've had this conversation, or you get a chance to come on this side of the water as we have different networking opportunities to get individuals' ears to what you're doing. So no, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So let's see what else we got for you, Jess. And hopefully everybody, you guys are enjoying this. You're hitting the share button, and that this is stimulating something. Hey, look at Tracy. She says, oh, wow, definitely sets apart. Hell yeah, it does. Because think about it. You get 75K up to, right? And then the next year you can apply for more. You get what I mean? That businesses need that. All right. Businesses most definitely need that, because the first few years are hell. Oh my God. They're ridiculous, because it's not just the information, but it's the qualifications you need, right? It's the experience that you don't have. And that takes time to develop, right? Building that network, all of that takes time, but the money makes it, a little bit easier, right? You agree with that, Jess?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I couldn't agree more on how difficult those first few years are from everything I've seen and heard. So yeah, It's nice to be able to, take a little pressure off for some of the founders that are just really want to grow, and they've got a great idea, and the only thing standing in their way is a little bit of money. So yeah.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So listen, that's good. So could you give us an insight into the selection process of Arch Grant? So what makes an application stand out?
Yeah. And so, I mean,
a little bit behind the scenes, you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, sometimes people will ask me like, what's the secret sauce? Like, give me the one secret that will cause me to win. And I always tell them that no, there isn't such an animal. I mean, if I quit my job and applied, there's no guarantee I would win. So, that really just putting your thought into it and being very intentional with the application questions, giving yourself time. The window is open for 6 weeks or so. Getting in the last day and rushing it is, judges can see that. But beyond that basic stuff, one thing that I really always like to remind people that always is something that judges are looking out for, and is such a core part of our mission, is to really be thoughtful around the questions pertaining to St. Louis. Why St. Louis? What makes you want to stay here and grow here? What are the benefits of that? Where do you fit into the St. Louis ecosystem? And really being thoughtful and intentional around answering those questions. Not just saying, well, there's little traffic and it's cheap, or I already live here. So just really thinking about like how it makes sense for you as a founder and for your business to plug into the St. Louis ecosystem, and like arguing that makes a lot of sense in a way that judges can't deny. And if you do have an argument for, like how you can grow have more jobs here, or you want to have your warehouse here, or you're going to manufacture here, those things are always great. You don't have to, if you have like a SaaS model or something and you're not going to have manufacturing, judges don't expect that out of you. But just really showing why it makes sense for you to be in St. Louis and really thinking about those questions, I think, is one sort of secret that I think would help a lot of people. And then beyond that, just really, drilling down and being, clear and concise and honest about your plans to scale, because the judges are always looking at that. And that's really important. You need to argue how you're venture backable, even though we're not a VC firm. Right. So thinking through that, being clear on how you're going to defend, your differentiator, how you're going to stay unique and not get copied anytime soon. Those things, showing traction and being very clear about that, and being very clear about how our funding and our resources will be the thing that moves you to the next phase, whatever that is. Like, that could look very different depending on how far along you are, but showing that like now is the time for you to give me this funding, and here's why, here's how it's going to take me from here to here. And if you don't have a clear argument of that, like, and that could be either because you're too early or because you're too far along, and you're not showing that you really need us, and just being able to show clearly why we will make a difference to you is always a good idea. So
there you go.
Just keeping those things in mind is important.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all heard that, I want you to write in there, right in the chat right now, #intentional. That's right. Okay. Why are you doing what you're doing? If you want this money, if you want this grant, how is it going to benefit the surrounding community, right? Because we all have a gift, and I truly do believe this. There it is, intentional. There you go. Do what you know good. It's about being intentional. So the secret sauce is, it's not just about, hey, I want to be in business, this is going to be great economic development or sustainability or stimulus, right? But how is it going to continue? Right? Because if you think about it, my job, or whatever it is that I'm doing, whatever my business is, I want it to grow, and I want to create access to other individuals, right? Not only for them to receive the service, but this is a good place that they can work. You get what I mean? They can learn. Watch this. Hey, here's a tip. They can learn. Think about it. You can have an organization or create a job, if you will, right? That, your business is able to train individuals within a whole new trade. Think about it. Yeah. You see, so it's being intentional, but having vision, right? How can you bring that vision down to whatever, the amount of characters that you need to make it make sense, and then say, wow, we need that here. We would love that here. And you're separating, like she said, you're separating yourself. How do you separate yourself from other individuals? And like I've said in different shows and before, 1 to 3 things: be new, different, or better. How? How are you new? How are you different than your competitors? Or how are you better than them? What you think about that, Jess? That sound good?
Yep, that sounds exactly right. I've heard you say that before, and I couldn't agree more.
Come on now. Listen, I don't think y'all understand. Everything I say ain't brand new. It's just the audience is different. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey, if it makes sense, it makes sense. But seriously, that's the goal. And now, Jess, let me ask you this a little bit off the script, but how do you respond to individuals that push back on your help? Meaning, I'm telling you this will help you, but it makes sense to them, but it doesn't make sense to you, and they don't know how to make it make sense on the damn paper. How do you help people, or how do you deal with that?
Sure. I mean, it's very rare, but some founders don't want to hear it, and I get that. Like again, like I understand this is your baby, and egos are attached to that, and I understand that I'm giving feedback about your baby. So, I always preface every piece of advice as like, this is just what I see. I'm not you. I don't know your business like you do. My experience comes from reading literally hundreds of applications and then reading thousands of lines of judge feedback and seeing them behind the scenes talking, at finals pitch day, talking, amongst themselves after the founders left the room. So, it's that's where I get my expertise from. So it's really just like, here's my observations. Here's what I think based off my observations would behoove you to think about and might play better with the judges. But that doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean you should listen to me. It's just what I see. So, most of the time founders are very gracious, and, I'd like to think that it is helpful. And if not, that's okay. Like, not every piece of advice needs to be listened to.
Listen,
And
stop it, Jess. Listen, I know you want to be humble and everything, and I get it. You need to. All right. Now, look, I would be the one to say it, right? Not only because it's the truth, but, that's what we do here. So welcome. You ready for this? Ladies and gentlemen, there's a such thing as funny looking babies. Come on
You
now.
said it.
Come on. Now, some of them got a little bit more skin on their face than other babies. You get what I'm saying? Now they grow up and they face kind of grow into it. But saying that to say this, you don't know where you are unless you receive the right eyes. You get what I'm saying? So what she's trying to explain to you is that she has the knowledge, talent, skills, and abilities and access, oh my goodness, to know what it looks like. So when you're asking for help or asking for feedback, remove your feelings just for a minute. All right. Don't throw them away. Just move them over for a minute to get the true facts to help you to scale or to help you to get from one point to another. And so it's not just in the grant process, but it's any part of life if you think about it, right? Because whatever it is that you're truly trying to do, I guarantee you, someone has done it before, right? And been through everything that you've been through before. So it would be, advantageous for you to, bring a different ear, right? So you got two ears and one mouth for a reason. Y'all know that. Oh, I'm gonna leave it like that. All right. So look, we're gonna go into this though real quick, Jess. So looking ahead, right? If you look ahead, what's some exciting incentives, right? That or plans that Archer Grants has supporting entrepreneurs in the future. If you can tell a little bit of secrets, right? Or why individuals to keep their ears low to the ground.
Yeah, well, thankfully these aren't secrets. We're all, I won't get in trouble because we have technically announced this stuff. But yeah, we just recently got a large EDA grant, so that's some federal funding. It'll be spaced out over 3 years, and it's really exciting because we'll get to expand on a couple fronts. My colleagues on the programs side, the ones that support awardees, they'll have a lot more resources where they can really start supporting founders as we keep growing. Our number of founders grows every year, and so we've got to figure out how to support more and more people every year and do it well. So we've got some more funding that can go towards that. And then on the competition side, the outreach side, hopefully we'll be able to do a lot more programming for everybody also. So that's kind of baked into the possibilities for the end of that 3-year grant. So we'll see how that shakes out. More to come on that, but I think that's really exciting to be able to offer more just to the community at large, founders in general. So hopefully those things will come to fruition pretty soon. And then also as far as industries that we are targeting, we're industry agnostic as long as you're tech enabled. But there are a few industries and groups that we pay special attention to. One of them being veterans, as you know, but a couple of new ones. A couple of new ones are advanced manufacturing, which is starting to be a really big deal in St. Louis, and also art tech. We've been partnering quite a bit with the Kransberg Arts Foundation and starting to talk with a couple of other people doing similar work in that that intersection of the artist world and the startup world. So I think that's really exciting too. So hopefully more programming on both of those things and lots more to come.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, I don't think you get it. I really don't think you get it. If you're listening right now, and of course we got everybody all over the world, I challenge you to find out what your city has, what type of incentives they have for your dreams to grow. I promise you. And these are the types of conversations that you need to stimulate, right? Or to ask those questions. And you say, hey, I heard on Lions Den. You get what I'm saying? Don't forget, say that, right? You heard the Lions Den with Seth, and say, look, we heard Jess. So you know what they're doing in St. Louis? So make sure that you are the ambassadors for these types of things, right? Because you don't know what type of access to capital is right at your fingertips. But all you have to do is ask and talk to, great individuals that want to see you succeed. So, but look, Jess, it's been a pleasure. Oh my goodness. I'm sure everyone has been enjoying this. Y'all let us know, hey, if y'all can dig it. Can you dig it? Put in hashtag I can dig it. And then also too, I want to let you know this. Look at this. One person says, it's rough and I could use the help. I'm looking on the site now. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. You understand? Yes. And that's what this is about. So look, Jess, I want to give you a minute to tell our audience anything that you wish that they would know or should know, any parting words, and also to tell how they can find you.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I haven't mentioned yet that the startup competition for 2024, the application window is about to open. So that's a pretty big deal. So that the window opens February 20th, and it will be open through the end of March. So please, if you're interested, take a look, or set yourself a reminder. Or if you don't feel like setting yourself a reminder, you can go to our website and sign up to receive reminders from me, from the competition team, so that you know when to set the date for yourself to apply. So I guess that's my big take home. Be sure to check that out and consider applying if you feel like it's a good fit for you and your company. And please do reach out to me if you're unsure, if you've got questions after you've taken a look at our site. If you still have questions, it's literally my job to help you. So please reach out.
There you go. Yeah. All right. Hey, so everybody, real talk, for those of you that are listening and that will be listening later, thank you, Tracy. As you can see and hear, the window opens February 20th, okay, through the end of March. And to apply is www.archgrants.org. Okay, .org. Don't put .com or .com
Exactly
or
right.
nothing like that. And then you go get mad and you go say, "Oh, Lions, then they lying." No, okay, .org. All right, don't be funny. But look, I want to thank you though, Jess, for being on. Okay, thank you. And this isn't the end. And ladies and gentlemen, just like she said, we're working together. Understand this, right? Because it's needed, it's necessary, and if there's an opportunity to support the community, right, by way of by where you're living, this is what we need to do. And not be afraid of it, right? So bet on yourself. How do you bet on yourself? Find out what's out there for you, because I promise you it is. So shout out to everybody that's been listening. And we have Mr. Kamayer Jafari. Okay, says it's been fantastic. Arch Grants is fantastic for entrepreneurs and the great community at STL. Absolutely. So look, hey, get with it or get lost and don't cry about it, because we already gave you all the information. You know what I'm talking about? But ladies and gentlemen, another thing before we wrap up, there won't be a show next week. Okay. Unfortunately, the Lions didn't make the Super Bowl. We was this close, but don't get me there. But since they're not since they're not playing, we're not having a show, and we're boycotting the Super Bowl too. Okay, everything is gonna be off next week. But no, anyway, we won't have a show next week, but we will be on the following week. But I want to thank you, Jess, for being on. Thanks everybody for tuning in with us. All right. This is what we do here at the Lions Den. We will see y'all soon. So again, not next week, but the following week. Right on. Later.